Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Check out therundownlive.com. Mike P, Kriston H. The Rundown, Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Check out therundownlive.com.
Download the Rundown Live application out now. iPhone, Android. Rundown Live application out now. Search the Rundown Live on Google Play Store and iTunes.
From the makers of Block It Pocket, we bring you a serious message about the health risks associated with cell phones and wireless devices. Studies have shown that long-term exposure can contribute to an assortment of health risks. Block It Pocket offers you two new products designed to help alleviate your concerns. See these two remarkable products at blockitpocket.com. Call 888-315-9618. Free shipping to the lower 48. Blockitpocket.com. Enhancing health and privacy.
What up, guys? We are live here. It is Monday, September 23rd. We're live here on The Rundown. Mike Pachesney, Kriston Harris, Rundown Live. What is up, guys? We're here today.
How's everyone doing today? It's Monday. It definitely is a Monday.
It feels like a Monday, bro. Like, Mondays are just, like, weird. It's, like, weird to be back.
I wonder if God was like, I never should have made Mondays.
Probably not. I don't think God questions himself. If he does exist, I don't think he does.
I agree with you.
Well, I'm not saying I don't think he does exist. I'm saying I don't think he questions himself. But anyway, before we get too far into that, you know what I'm saying? We do have a guest today, guys. We're going to be joined with Popeye of FederalJack.com. A lot of you guys know who he is. He's been around for a long time with his radio show, interviewed tons of awesome guests throughout the years. I mean, he's been interviewed by tons of people as well, Luke and others, and tons of 9/11 vids on his various YouTube channels and stuff. So it'll just be cool to talk to Popeye and just basically get some of his perspectives on current events, and I'm sure he'll tell us about his new radio show and stuff like that. But anything we should mention before we get into our deal, man?
Yeah, definitely. Make sure if you guys want to support us, stop by therundownlive.com and check out our sponsors. Starting with privateinternetaccess.com, you can see the banner if you're watching us live on our website. Basically, it gives you privacy on the internet. You can surf anonymously, download, do whatever you care to. Remember, privacy is freedom. So for $39.95, covers 5 computers, and that comes down to what, about $7-8 a head. So
close enough. We're not gonna get the calculator out.
It was probably like 9, 9.5. No, I'm just kidding. 7, 8, whatever.
Close
and
enough.
Nonetheless, also check out our other sponsor, Block It Pocket. They also are experts in privacy, and we're gonna have Keith on actually next week on the 3rd. He's gonna come and talk to us about the technology behind Block It Pocket and why you need a Block It Pocket. I do recommend you do research. Stop by therundownlive.com and actually check the Block It Pocket link and visit their site. If you make a purchase, every little purchase you make, a little bit that helps what we do here, and any support is really appreciated.
Right, guys. I mean, basically the VPN, if you get the private internet access, it helps us out. If we get a Block It Pocket, it helps us out. Plus, we're giving away Block It Pockets. We might give one out today. But I have a little Block It Pocket story because this weekend I finally got mine from Kriston, and basically I was showing it off to my friends. And they're like, oh, this isn't going to work, da-da-da-da-da. So I put my phone basically in the Block It Pocket, okay? And I was unaware that it actually had the 2 pouches. So I'm all like, hey guys, I'm going to put my phone in this thing and it's not going to call. So I put it in the non-protected area of the pocket.
The radiation blocking pocket.
Right.
There, one blocks radiation and the other one
is just like a storage for, say, if you...
See, just so everyone knows, Mike is Block It Pocket challenge. The typical person does not make this mistake.
Well, the one is labeled. But so anyway, I think it's cool that it has the 2 slots, because in the second slot you can say, if you have to take it out of a case, you can slide the case in there or whatever else, because it might not fit in the protected layer with the case on it. But anyway, I'm showing off the Block It Pocket, and pretty much I tell my buddies to call me, and I feel it vibrating. I'm like, it's not working. What the hell? We can't sell this. And I'm like, wait. I had to have done something wrong. So, I looked a little closer, investigated it, and I'm like, oh, clearly I put it in the wrong pocket. Obviously, because it was my first experience with it. So anyway, I put it in the correct pocket. I'm like, well, now you guys see that it called me the first time. It's like a magic trick. You put it in the correct slot the second time, and it defeated the call. And then they were all sold. They were like, "Oh, I gotta get me one of them." It was a good
awesome.
it was a good hands-on experience. Basically seeing how it actually worked, because it was just funny how it didn't work at first, but I used the pocket wrong. It's hard to believe that you could do that.
I don't know how you can use a pocket wrong. That's
well, you
ridiculous.
simply put it in the wrong pocket. I put it in the wrong slot, so to speak. But it is very cool, and I promise you it does work,
Just so anyone knows, Mike does not have good bagging skills. He would not make a good grocery store
I have
bagging.
excellent bagging skills. I don't know what you're talking about.
Just not when it comes to cell phones.
No, exactly. But so anyway, anything we should mention before we bring Popeye on?
We should talk about this weekend.
Oh yeah, the weekend was awesome. Go ahead. Where do you want to start?
Sure. Me and Mike got up at the butt crack at dawn, as we call it in Wisconsin, and we decided to go to the 10th Amendment, Restoring the Republic meeting in Pewaukee, Wisconsin with Tom Woods, and there's a lot of cool people there. And so me and Mike went in not quite sure, knowing what to expect. See, I knew it would be larger than what Mike thought. Mike thought it would be like, 10 people in a hotel room.
I saw the pics from LPAC and from Luke and Ben Swan. There was like 12 people there, so our event was more full than LPAC.
That could have been. Well, what's really crazy is there was a great number of people, a lot of concerned citizens, and I don't think that I completely believe. Let me rephrase that. I completely believe that the Republican movement here in Wisconsin is in complete denial that there's a libertarian movement happening right now, because we saw like 130, 140, and that's shooting maybe on the low end. There could have been a lot more than that people there. And to hear Tom Woods, and we had some other great speakers, and you can actually check some footage out on that. We're going to have some up soon. And what was really cool is people came up to us, and they're like, "Hey, you're the Rundown guys." Like people, Mike was like, "Yeah, that guy over there, he said I was a Rundown guy." And then we were eating during the lunch at the media.
Moldy crackers.
Hey, yeah, I don't know if they were moldy. They were burnt. It looked like it was weird. It was like black.
I'm pretty sure it was mold,
black.
But whatever.
Anyways, so this guy comes up to us. He's like, "Yeah, you guys are from that one show with the red and black." I'm like, "What?" You knew the colors, but you didn't know the name of our show. So it tells you
the color. We know all about color, and red and black. I didn't really want to associate like too much with red and black, because that's known as like that leads towards the anarcho-syndicalist communism.
I have no idea what that means. Oh, okay.
It basically, red and black can represent forms of socialism. So we don't. Okay. Let's just clarify that's not why we chose that.
What does red, white, and blue currently stand for?
Corporate America, I believe.
There you go.
We can ask Popeye that, though. Let's just bring him on right now, because this is about the time I had him be ready for us.
And we went to Bayview Bash and checked out Bitcoin, by the way, for you folks out there.
Right, we can ask, let's ask Popeye what he thinks about Bitcoin, because I'm not really too sure on that one either.
Right on.
Bayview Bash was cool, though. There's a lot of good liberty-minded people hanging down at the Bitcoin booth. Stacy Freedom, Stacy Cat was there, Will Walkie, and a lot of other cool people from the Bitcoin meetup group were there.
And we got to check out this band called Dirty Kid Discount. That was pretty discreet.
Was that really their name?
Yeah, the Dirty Kid Discount. They're like, I'm a big punk rock fan, so I heard it. I was like, this is music, and Mike's like, that's not music. I'm like,
I
this
thought it
is
was
awesome.
homeless people with buckets and stuff.
Well, that's the new in style, is looking homeless. You got to buy clothes from Goodwill.
Hold on one second. Popeye, did we have you on the air, man?
What's up, guys?
Awesome. I just want to make sure we had you. We were just kind of going off on our little tangent of what we did this weekend. We had some Liberty events and got to hang out with some cool people and stuff.
Mike, you can't deny that it's really weird that this new homeless look is in. It's like they want us to look like peasants. Oh, it's cool to look like you haven't washed your jeans in 5 months. That's what we saw, right?
Well, I don't know if that's necessarily people looking cool, or if that's just like the way it is now, where people literally haven't washed their pants in a long time, man.
I don't know. Maybe they're trying to conserve, the water.
You can't really judge because people, they're gonna wear what they're gonna wear, so it's hard to say.
It looked like a fashion style to me.
Yeah.
There's no way there was that many people spending that kind of money at a festival. Just homeless, but I'm gonna go spend.
It's Milwaukee, man. Where it's hardcore rockers and hippies. That's just the way it is. But anyway, it's good to have Popeye here. Popeye FederalJacks, FederalJack.com. We already mentioned your radio show and kind of some of the things that you do on YouTube for years. You've been interviewing countless people, and we actually mentioned Luke's interview with you and all kinds of stuff you've had going on. And then just recently, you had some network changes, so I figured we'd get you on and let people know about your new network and what you got going on now, man.
Well, thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it.
Oh,
no problem,
awesome!
Popeye.
Yeah, it's good to have you, dude.
Yeah, I've been at this a while. That's funny, that interview with Luke. I didn't even, now that I think about it, I don't even think I published it on FederalJack. It was one of those things that I did it and I knew he was going to put it up, and when I saw it came out, but I don't like patting myself on the back. And as odd as this is probably going to sound, there are times like when I do interviews and stuff, I'll go back and I'll listen to it, I'll see it later, and I'm like, oh, God. So I'm a critic on myself. I'm very hard on myself. I didn't even bother to watch it.
I understand that because I'm the same way. I tell Mike every day, I'm like, I talk way too much sometimes, Mike.
Well, it's hard, especially I'm sure me and Popeye were relating before the show. I mean, he's been doing this a lot longer than I have, and basically it's like, sometimes when you're hosting a show and you're putting yourself out there on live TV, live air, it's hard, and you got to really rack your brain sometimes, and you got to make sure you're politically correct for the most part. It's not easy, and especially like controlling like social behaviors like over talking things, letting other people talk. It's just something, it's a skill, you develop it, I think, with practice.
And it's not like we're all in the same room either.
Right.
There's always a delay, or there could be a little head of somebody, you never know.
No, you're both right. And that actually makes it really hard when you're not in the same room, because you don't have that visual cue where, like, if you're sitting next to each other, you can look at the person to your left or to your right, and you can, once you work with somebody or you've hung out with somebody, you can tell when they, you know what I mean? You can tell when they're going to say something, or, you have that unspoken thing going on. But it's harder to do over Skype. After a while, though, you do pick it up. But I know what you mean. There are still sometimes now, like when I do interviews and I go back and I listen later, and I'm like, God, why did you interrupt them? And I don't interrupt people for the most part, which is funny. But I think we're all our own worst critics, right?
Yeah, no, that's for sure too, because I don't even like the sound of my own voice, so there you go.
Yeah, like it really bugs me when I see myself, like when I saw the interview I did with Luke, I watched it, I watched it in full, but I won't go and watch it over and over again, and like I said, I didn't really even publicize it. People came up to me and they were like, or they would message me and be like, oh, I saw Luke interviewed you, and then they'd be like, how come you didn't post it? And like, I'm just not, I don't like, I'm not in this to pat myself on the back or whatever. So I kind of felt that if I posted that thing up and started, oh, look, I got interviewed by Luke Rudowski, you know what I mean? That it would be more of a,
self-fulfilling type of thing. I understand.
Yeah, I didn't want to come off like I was full of myself. So I just whatever.
Oh,
I mean, don't get me wrong. Luke did a great job editing and everything, and I love Luke's a good friend of mine, and I love his video style and his interviewing style. It's very laid back to be interviewed by him. So
Right.
It's not a bad experience or anything. I just don't like patting myself on the back. Right? I can't stand that.
We do our fair share of that. I think it's it just happens. It just
no.
comes
You
out.
should. You should. you honestly look when you for promotional stuff. You guys should promote your own stuff, which is really good to do. I'm horrible at that, even though people would think that I'm good at it because I've been around doing this a while. I actually forget to even plug my own show on air half the time. My brain gets into that mode where you start talking about something or you start going off on something or whatever, and you want to make your point, and that's the only thing you get focused on. Like a pit bull.
It seems like, well, see, for instance, like this show right here, we don't really have a point, like a lot of times people get focused on like some type of one subject and they really hit it hard and it becomes like this educational thing. And I don't think that's necessarily what we're doing. We more put people in the spotlight, you know what I mean? And let them showcase their own talents.
And not only that, who they are,
right.
Bring out the personal side, and that's just the thing with us radio peoples. We can rant, and so when you get a bunch of us together, you never know which direction it could be or where the conversation started or where it might end.
I think it's good that you guys do this. There's so many programs out there that they don't focus on the other people out there and they don't introduce the listeners to other people, and that's one of the biggest ways that we're going to win this is that we all work together. I mean, at the end of the day, we're not making money off this. If people try to get in this thing to make money, you're not going to. The only reason people should be doing this right now is because it's the right thing to do, and that we literally have to stop ourselves from going down the toilet, uber fast. And you're not going to make a ton of money doing this. So a lot of people, I notice that when they get into this, they kind of get, I don't know, some people get,
big
turned
dreams.
off. Well, yeah, they think they're going to be like, the next Rush Limbaugh or something. And it's like, no, dude, you gotta get in this for a different reason. But it's cool because what you guys do, you guys help build those bridges, and that's important. It really is. What you guys are doing is just as important, if not even more important, than people going out in the street with bullhorns or people doing their own radio shows that talk about conspiracy or politics or this or that. Not only do you guys talk about that stuff, but you're also introducing your listeners to other hosts, and you're building bridges and friendships and stuff. And honestly, I know a lot of people could say, oh, that sounds corny or whatever, but no, that's how things get done. Right? It is corny, but that's how things get done. So,
sounds bromantic.
And we actually, now that, we might as well just keep going, but you got to try to bridge that gap. And you're right, we do try to form alliances. We try to get liberal types and conservative types and try to get them to come on the show and be like, we agree that these certain things are the problems, but we don't have to agree on everything, because that's the whole problem with the federalization, getting people to adhere to one law of the land when that was never the intention. That's
because everything is kind of pushed into nationalism now. Everything is it's what's for the nation, and it's the national.
Everything has to be standardized.
Yeah,
right?
Everything has to be standardized.
And we're trying to get away from that. No, you can have individual beliefs and, not agree with 100% of what somebody says and still hear them out, and respect their opinion. Just because they say one thing you disagree with, it doesn't mean you could throw all their information in the trash. That's ridiculous.
It's like a religion.
I prefer people have a differing opinion. I don't want to sit around wasting my time talking to somebody that agrees 100% with everything I say. That's I might as well talk to the friggin' wall, because the wall's going to agree with everything I say too. Sometimes informed debate, not only you might wake somebody up if you're right, but maybe you're not right. Maybe you're not seeing things fully. Maybe your perspective is just a little bit off. So sometimes maybe it helps you shift your perspective just a little bit. Not maybe all the way over to their camp, but it helps you maybe put something else in the perspective, and it makes a puzzle piece fit for you. There's no reason that we shouldn't, talk to each other and engage in intellectual and logical debates. It's when people start yelling at each other and calling each other names and stuff where, well, there goes the debate, because the
intelligence,
debate is over.
Right? Yeah, intelligence goes away.
And it's the same thing, when you see with these, for example, the two-party system, they all go to these, meetings, and then they pay money. like their dues. It's like a religion, and then they all talk about, well, Democrats are all evil, and then the Democrats go to their church where they preach that Republicans are all evil, where they tithe, and there's no logic, there's no reasoning. If a Republican wants it, it's bad, and if a Democrat wants it, it's bad, and that's not always the case. They're both bad.
Well, especially when you're getting into that two-party system. We heard a lot about that this weekend with states' rights and nullification and all that type of stuff. But before I get too far, the reason, we might as well get into it. Popeye is pretty much, you're anonymous for the most part. I mean, you don't really, like you said, you don't pat yourself on the back. You don't put your name out there, your image. Can you kind of explain, a little bit more in depth what made you choose that direction?
Well, it's real simple. If I don't go out there and I don't put my image out there and everything else, I'm not making it about me. It's never about me. It's just about the information. So the only way to take the ego out of it is to not insert it to begin with. So I don't do this for me. I mean, I literally don't make any money doing this. I'm a disabled veteran, and I can no longer work due to my disabilities. So because to me, sitting on my rear end and just watching the world go down the toilet and not doing anything about it is just not the way I work. I have to do something. So I took an oath to protect the Constitution. And I know this is going to sound corny and cheesy, but I took an oath to protect the Constitution and the citizens of this country, the people. I hate the word citizen, but the people of this country, okay, from enemies foreign and domestic. And I really take that oath that I took to heart. And to me, I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do. So this isn't, I don't want it to be about me. And I've been asked, how come you don't do video and stuff? Well, one of the reasons I don't is because, and this is, again, not only just taking the ego out of it, but one of the other reasons is I'm covered in tattoos, okay? From like all over me, my hands, my fingers, my arms, my chest, my legs, right?
Well, let's talk about this for a second. Do you have a tattoo artist that does them for you? Are you there's a certain piece that you like? What made you decide to get tattoos?
Just when I was a kid, I decided to do it. I've been getting tattooed for 20-something years. So I've been tattooed by people from pretty much all over the world.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I'm a tattoo person too.
And I used to run a tattoo shop, so yeah, I'm covered. But the reason I don't do video is because if people see a lot of people, and although it's wrong, right? It's in our nature, whether or not it's really human nature or not, right? That's up for debate, but it's in our nature now that people judge based on vision and what people look like. And I challenge, it would be harder for me to challenge the listener to judge me based on my intellect if they're looking at me and they see my tattoos, because a lot of times they'll be like, oh, he's just some tattooed scumbag, and they move on without even listening to the content of the video. I mean, Facebook is proof that if you post a video or a picture, people won't even read the description. They'll just see the image, get an assumption of what they think, and start commenting and going off, and it's not even accurate, right?
Well, speaking of that, before, I don't want to interrupt, but I saw that you made a post today, and that's what people were doing, man.
Well, what's funny is it proved my point. Did you see that the first comment was me in all caps saying, don't just comment without reading what I wrote in full, and what happened?
Yeah, of course, people were like, oh, you're anti-religious and all kinds of stuff that had basically nothing to do with what you were saying.
Exactly.
It's ridiculous. But I probably shouldn't have cut off your point, though.
Well, no, it's just I want people to judge me by my intellect, not on the way I look.
It is true though,
because I get judged on the way I look every day. I mean, even though tattoos are more socially acceptable now, there are, for the most part, still in a large portion of America, if you walk into a restaurant or if you walk into someplace and you have a lot of tattoos, you will get people staring at you, whether or not they're doing it without even realizing it. I mean, I've walked into places and I've heard the record scratch across the needle go across the record, and everybody just looks at you. So I understand that, and I don't care. I mean, whatever. I laugh at it and I just blow it off. But I know that if I try that same whatever approach with trying to put this information out, people are just going to, a lot of the stuff that we talk about is so crazy, or at least it sounds so crazy at first, right? Even though I guess you could say reality is crazy, bizarro world, right? But it's so nuts that they're going to go, oh, this is a tattooed idiot. He's talking about conspiracies and move on. Well, if I take my ego, me out of it, because I'm not important. It's not about me. It's about
information, right?
Yes, it's about, because I'm not, look, the best way to lead, the way I lead, because I was in the military, I was a firefighter, I was in positions where I had, was put in positions of leadership. I lead by example. I don't want people to follow me. I want people to be on either side of me, working with me. I want people to be their own leaders. That's how we're going to get past this crap. It's the only way we're going to beat this crap is to stop following other people and start to encourage people to follow themselves. That's why I say all the time on my show, the solutions to our problems are an inside job. Instead of 9/11 was an inside job, I kind of changed it a little bit, because the solutions to our problems really do come from us. If we, even in this community, I find people look to a savior to help them. You know what I mean?
Right. Not to name names, but Adam Kokesh is gonna lead us, or Luke, or Alex Jones for that matter.
Oh, no, exactly.
And I mean, you do see that all too often. And another thing while we're on this subject is, don't think just because Popeye has a radio show and me and Kristan have a radio show that you shouldn't start one. Because I see a lot of people out there like, oh, there's too many this, or there's too many that. I don't believe in that. I believe if you put your mind to something and you believe that that's what you should be doing to help the cause, then that's what you should be doing. I don't like the talks of people like, oh, there's too many of this, or there's too many of that, because I don't think we have enough. I think we always need more broadcasters, more independent journalists, more people asking questions. I mean, to tell people to discourage them is wrong. You know what I mean?
And we do need more individual creativity. Get creative with it. That's the best way.
Yeah,
I mean,
art,
are big
music,
advocates for you being creative. Yeah, art, music, whatever you're great at, because that's when you get the best results, something you're passionate about.
I agree. I mean, that was well put. The art thing is a really good point. A lot of people think that they have to go out and, well, I can't do a radio show. Well, look, there's a lot of stuff that I can't do, but certain things I'm good at. And apparently one of the things I'm good at is doing radio. I didn't know any of this stuff until I was forced to learn it myself. I taught myself video editing, graphic design, all of this. I didn't even know anything about building computers, and now I can build one from scratch. It's all stuff that I've taught myself literally in the past 6 years. Six and a half years. I taught all of this stuff myself. I got a better education in the past 6 years than I did my whole time in public school, from K to 12. I learned more in 6 years than I did that whole time.
I wonder.
All self-taught.
You know what's interesting is that it's something that you're passionate about,
right,
that you found interest. See, I was an ADD kid, and I probably still am, but I never took the medication, and maybe I bloomed a little later, but about 26, 27, education started to become very important to me. I did well enough in school to get into college, and, I was pretty ambivalent, just went there because I didn't really know what I wanted to do. All I knew is I wanted to play guitar and be in a band, and that's what I was passionate about. And later on in my life, I became passionate about education, and basically, obviously that's what's led me to being involved in the show and journalism and everything else. So I think it's everyone just kind of hits it at a different level.
Well, I mean, I've always been distrustful of the government, and I've always been into researching certain things. But I had similar experience like you. I was labeled with ADHD, but they did hit me with Ritalin when I was a kid. Except my mother was cool, and I said to her, "I don't want to take this crap. It makes me feel like I'm a zombie." And I remember this is back in the early 80s. And she said to me, well, here's the deal. You don't have to take it, but the doctor writes the prescription for you. And even back then, they were taking kids if they didn't take Ritalin. And she said, if they ever ask you, you just tell them that you take it. And you have to try as hard as you can to, pay attention and do your work and just not get in. She's like, just don't get in trouble. And, that's all I ask. And I said, okay, fine. I did my best. I mean, I got in trouble anyway, but they didn't know that I wasn't taking that crap. And then by the time I was 14, she told the doctor, I don't want him on it anymore. But there was this period of time, I remember for a few years, where we had to pretend that I was taking it, or children and families of I think it was called DIFUS in Jersey, would have come and gotten you, because I'm originally from New Jersey. So DIFUS would have come and picked you up. And this was the early 80s.
Because you didn't take your Ritalin. and they would have snatched you up. But hey, credit the aware parents, even though they weren't sure, they let you make a decision. You didn't like it, and you know what? Now look at what it's become.
Personally, I think ADHD is a load of crap. Yes, there's obviously most people I know that are diagnosed with it, they might have quote unquote an attention span or concentration problem per se. But I don't really think it's a disorder. I'm sure there's a better explanation for it. And the medications that they have are just crap. I mean, if anything, they should treat it with cannabis. I mean, the kids that are diagnosed with it, usually when they treat them with cannabis, they show, massive improvements in concentration and everything else. And honestly, the guy that came up with it, the creator of ADHD, he even said on his deathbed that it was crap. So, I mean, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. I honestly don't know if ADHD itself exists, but I know something does, because I know the experience. You know what I mean? I know what you mean. Like, when you're younger, it's not that you don't care about education, but like school bored you. I know for me, school was boring because it wasn't challenging. Like, I hated math. History I loved, but I read my history book in 2 weeks, and I was like, more, and half of it was crap. So I started bringing books in from home, and the teacher would laugh at me or make fun of me in class, like to try to put me down, because I realized later on it was because I was making that teacher look like a moron because I was proving him wrong. But when you're a kid, you don't realize that. You look at it like, oh my God, they frame it and they attack you, and then all the other kids laugh at you. So, it's hard, and you just end up not caring, and then you screw off, you cut class, you get in fights, you're beating people up, you're getting sent to schools where, they have metal detectors on the doors, and oh yeah,
it's basically a prison. What were you going to say, Kristan, before?
I completely forgot.
That's all right, man. But yeah, I mean, this the same way for me. I went to a public school that was basically like a prison. You know what I mean? And it was like way overcrowded, metal detectors, cops at the doors, and I'm just like, I went to a more alternative school prior to that, where it was like a magnet school where you had to have it was basically like a college prep type school. And when I went to that major public school, I was just like, wow, the differences. I couldn't do it, man. It was just like I was unable to succeed in that type of environment where it was just a zoo, That how does a kid even learn anything in that type of environment?
They don't.
Well, that's just it. Not only that, let's keep in mind that these kids, half of them are on pills now, and when I was like a kindergartner, we only went to school, like 3 hours? Now they go for like a full 8 because it's convenient, because both the mother and father are working, because no one's staying home, because family is a bad thing, and everyone needs to be independent and do their own thing, and everyone cheats based on TV and every programming you see. They want to get rid of constitutional talk on TV, but they want to loosen censorship on nudity and swearing. It's bad enough that our kids have access to internet.
Right, it's a joke. I mean, and even with the internet, we didn't have Google in high school. Well,
we
did
had Alta Vista.
At the very end, but it wasn't the way it is today. Where basically,
what year did you guys graduate?
97.
04 for me. I'm a little younger.
Okay, he's around my age. You're right. We had like Prodigy and Alta Vista. And what was the other one? Netscape, I think.
Yeah, Netscape. Right. Well, Netscape was the browser. That was before Internet Explorer was big.
And what was high-speed internet?
There was none. There's DSL. There was no
YouTube.
We had to dial in.
56K. Yeah, exactly.
Like,
right.
And everyone in the library knew you were going on the internet.
Yeah, so you better not go anywhere bad. Right.
Yeah.
That was before internet blocks and all that.
And that's when we had GeoCities. Remember? GeoSites, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
You can make your own website.
GeoCities. That was, whatever .geocities, or it was either .geocities or .geocities.com or whatever.
They gave away free websites, and that's how I learned my first HTML to make my first band web page.
I do remember my first GeoCities page. It was just like a picture of the band Korn and some other strange things. Like, it was just like, basically, like, we knew there was going to be an internet presence, and we were just trying to develop something before, like, Facebook and MySpace came out, and we didn't know what the hell we were doing. Especially, I was young, man. You're talking young as hell, man. I remember the green screen computers, all that shit.
Oregon Trail.
Oh, yeah. Hours.
You mean the Radio Shack Tandy computers.
Yes, the Tandy, yes. And I remember, like that kid that made a video game of what he was shooting all his friends. You remember drowning your friends in Oregon Trail? You'd be like, "Hey, Sally, you drowned."
Oh yeah, you'd
now you'd get suspended.
Imagine even playing Oregon Trail. There's a gun in that. Oh my goodness!
They shot a buffalo.
Yeah.
When I was a senior, the school I went to with the metal detectors on the doors to keep the kids like somewhat chill. They let them play first-person shooter games, which I don't know how that's supposed to keep people chill. But
Wolfenstein 3D.
Yeah, it was Wolfenstein 3D. It was the only thing that you could play. It was that, I think Duke Nukem was out, and we thought back then we were like, "Oh my God, the graphics on this are amazing!" And now you compare it to the stuff that these kids have now, and you're like, "Wow." And you go, "Hey, do you know what Pong is?" And they go, "No, what the hell's that?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, I remember when Pong came out."
Like Burger Time, Yeah.
Dude, I remember when there wasn't the internet. I remember when there was like no pagers, no cell phones. When kids played, they went outside. If you watched TV for more than an hour, your mother whooped your rear end.
See, I remember logging on a 386 IBM PS2, and they had this thing called Legend of the Red Dragon, and it was all words, and you'd have to type in responses, and then they did mathematical equations. That's how you bought the. You had to know DOS.
Yep.
Yeah, that was too much.
They had a Spider-Man game for, I think it was the 386. I don't even think. Yeah, I think it was the 386 I was playing it on. This is back in, oh my God, forever ago.
King's Quest.
Oh. And then
Quest.
Oh my God, dude, now you're taking me back like years.
Nostalgia, literally. It's great, isn't it?
Seriously, I mean, when I grew up in an era of like, I was born in the mid-'70s. Like, I remember when there was shag carpeting and none of this crap. And kids when like
you mean things existed in the 70s? No, I'm just kidding.
We went out to dinner the other night. I took my wife out, and we were sitting there, and I said, "Do you look around?" Because we purposely take if we go out to dinner, we take our phones, we put them at the end of the table. We have this thing like we're there to spend time with each other. We're not there to be on the phone.
Facebook, otherwise, right?
Yeah. Why the hell did I go to dinner with my wife for her? Be on Facebook. I don't even have Facebook on my phone. I don't even waste my time with it, but. We looked around, and I said, "Look, they're all over. No matter if it was a big table, a small table, at least half the people at the table were on their phones. There was one table where it was a whole family gathering, and at least I would say 75% of the adults weren't talking to each other. They were just on their phones. Adults, like in their 40s.
That's called a conference call. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, ugh.
It is. You see that all too often. I don't know if it's the disassociation with just reality, the antisocial brainwashing. I mean, there's so many reasons for it. I mean, while we're talking about phones and stuff, I know you guys saw that the new iPhone came out and the ridiculous lines of people. What phone you waiting for? Oh, we gotta get that gold phone. Like, come on, man. Yeah, it's a golden colored iPhone. Who cares? Like,
dude, the new one coming out, from what I understand, there's a 64 gig version of it because they never have anything big, so they finally came out with a 64 gig version, and it's somewhere like around $1,000. I don't know about you, but I know for less than $300 I could go get an Android phone and a 64 gig micro SD memory card that I can take out whenever I want and not be forced to deal with Apple's crap. And I can also remove the battery from the phone whenever I want.
That's huge, right?
Like $1,000, dude, for a phone because it's got 64 gig of memory and because it's an iPhone. I just don't understand
it's a
people.
Scam, clearly.
Dude, people will do it. People will go like sell their firstborn. Did you see them hiring the homeless to stand?
Right. Oh my goodness. Right. I mean,
what scumbags? And then they didn't give the homeless guys money for standing there because they sold out. Well, too bad, dude. You were supposed to pay the guy. No. See, people are such scumbags when it comes to stuff like that. And that's not natural human behavior. That's the way we've been programmed, and this is what we've been turned into. That's why that kind of crap is why I do my radio broadcast, because that is what they're trying to turn us into: brainless cattle that line up for like sheep going to the slaughter for an iPhone. You know what they'll do? You know how they get people in the FEMA camp? They'll just change the entrance name from Camp FEMA to Apple Store.
Right.
Free iPhone 6s. Come here. Into the camp people will go.
Or either that, once you're in the line, they'll just close it on both ends, and then where are you going then? You're already in the pen. That's what they do. I mean, it is ridiculous. And not to mention, while we're talking about the iPhone still, what's with the NYPD passing out notices that everyone that has an iPhone has to upgrade their operating system? Is that so they can just shut off their cameras? Probably. I mean, we already know that they have that technology, but I'm sure, you know, if the NYPD is passing out flyers saying that people should upgrade, there is a reason for it, you know, and it's just so that they can tap into it. I'm assuming that, but you know.
Well, I mean, now that they're making it the all-ended, all-in-one stop NSA tool to use, and it's just like it became the tool that we can't put down because it takes our pictures, plays our music, schedules our appointments, it logs us into the internet. Yes, it answers the questions, it does everything possible, and now that they got you addicted to the crack cocaine per se, they're gonna introduce you to we're gonna want, you know, surveillance. So that's essentially what's gonna happen. Everything's gonna be surveillance. Any way they can use it, any way they could sell it.
You got any comments on that, Popeye?
I agree. Did you notice that now they're admitting that it's so sensitive, the fingerprint scanner, it picks up dog paw prints and cat paw prints?
That's ridiculous. What do you need a cat paw print for?
Well, it's just, I mean, it's just
that
crazy.
good. It's that.
Yeah,
it's that
just
good.
crazy
Right.
that, I mean, obviously I know that dog prints and cat paw prints are like, you know, fingerprints, but do you need a phone that does that? So you guys are right. You guys hit the nail right on the head. That thing is, you know, I didn't know that the NYPD actually, you know, there's so much stuff out there.
Yeah, no, that's just
one or two things. When did this happen?
That just came out today. It's going pretty viral today because they're basically handing out flyers on the street saying basically Apple users should upgrade their software due to security reasons and this and that. And all you have to do is type it in on Google, and I'm sure the image it's going around Facebook as well. I don't have it right on me, so I can't pull it up. But yeah, it's going around majorly viral today saying that people should upgrade their operating system. And it's from the NYPD, like it's got the seal on there and stuff. It's not like, you know, it's just some tech issue paper. This is from the NYPD. And that just leads me to believe that they have some type of incentive. When we've heard the rumors of, you know, them being able to shut off your camera at protests and rallies and them being able to directly shut off your signal and things like that. So obviously to get the newer version of their technology, they're going to need you to update your backdoor so they can just, you know, get right in.
Wow. I mean, the whole being able to log in and everything, I wouldn't put it past them. What I'm wowing is that they just go out in the street and hand out the flyers and
like
don't expect people. Yeah, but like, how do people not look at that and go, shady?
Yeah, exactly right. It's just like, since when did the NYPD work for Apple? That's what I want to know.
Well, first of all,
that's crazy.
Well, they do work for big corporations, right? But like when the NYPD, who's, you know, they do not look good in the public eye, right? I mean, and I'm not picking on cops in general. But
they shot somebody in Times Square the other day. You don't have to worry about that.
You know what I'm saying? Well, as I was saying, like the NYPD, like they're not. To me, if an NYPD officer was handing that stuff out and said, "No, you have to update your iPhone OS," I would go take my iPhone and I would get rid of it, and I would go buy a complete different product. I mean, I would not trust them. Maybe it's bad to say that, you know what I mean?
No,
Whatever,
no, I totally agree. Right.
I mean,
I don't
to
like
me,
it.
that's shady, dude. That reeks of, I don't know. Like, why would the NYPD be telling you should update your iOS? Like you said, yeah, so they can go in there.
I mean, that's the bottom line. Why else would
wait. Who's that NYPD to tell you what the hell to do?
Right,
I mean,
with your own
is
shit.
not your right to just make decisions for yourself. Now we have to listen to the NYPD when we need to update our cell phone. Get the fuck out of here. Seriously? Find something else better to do with the taxpayers' money than tell us to update our cell phone. What a waste of taxpayer money. Where are they getting money for this? The rest of the country's broke. I mean, come on. Do they have time
Well,
to let
NSA
you know
grants.
to upgrade your... I mean, it's
the NSA gave them
Don't worry.
about...
Bloomberg's going
printed
to pass. Bloomberg will pass another law, making it illegal that you can't drink your big gulp, and if you don't update
You
your
get two big
iPhone iOS, you get punched in the face by an NYPD officer and a felony.
That's perfectly acceptable.
If you're not up to date, your phone isn't up to date with the local New York Police Department, it'll be a ticket, huh?
Yeah, no, well, and a punch in the face.
And it'll be reason to be pulled over. Why is your phone not updated?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Update police.
That's another thing. Yeah, they'll be able.
Tase the phone.
They'll be able to detect it, and then they'll send a tase into your vehicle. They won't even have to pull you over because you'll have the old operating system.
We know your phone is not up to date.
Oh,
and
man.
we've had enough. This is your last warning. I don't have to pull you over again.
We digress just a little there, but it's okay. You get the point, man.
Oh, I thought we were actually being serious. No,
that's the way it's going. Look at the guy who got arrested for rainwater. And the guy planting garden. I mean, it's illegal to plant a garden without a permit. What the hell's going on in this world?
Did you see the guy getting arrested speaking out about Common Core?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
My friend Charlotte Iserby calls it Communist Core.
Yeah.
Right? He's sitting there. He's like, he didn't even do anything wrong. The guy stood up and read from a pad, and you see that cop come over and get all tough with him and chest up with him, pull his badge out. I'm a cop. Then he grabs him by the arm. Cop or not, I wouldn't put your freaking hand on me. Just because you're a cop doesn't give you the right to touch people. You wear a Halloween.
You didn't earn it. You need to earn that right.
Well, dude, seriously, you're wearing a Halloween costume, and this comes from someone who was a firefighter and in the military. Okay, trust me, you're wearing a costume. You're animating a costume. That is it. That costume doesn't give you power. If you take that costume off and that badge off, go up and touch that guy with the same attitude, and see if the guy might not crack you in the face. See if other people, because they weren't afraid of getting arrested, take the shirt that says security off and take the badge off, and then try to take people on in the room, and see how different the reaction might be. Oh, it might be a lot different, because without fear of that power of the badge or the costume, you're nothing.
Well,
so it's just pathetic in my eyes. It's sad.
The Nazis had costumes made by Hugo Boss.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
They got a little crazy when they got him on, didn't they? I mean, it sounds. I see a little. Well, I don't want to say it, but it doesn't sound so good.
I don't know what you're talking about, man, but I know one thing, that he should not have been thrown out for speaking on Common Core. I mean, he was trying to make a point. The guy got up in his face and tried to throw him out. And, why? And I heard the people yelling, "We want to hear his point. Just let him stay in the background." And the cop took it personally that, he didn't just back down right away. Right, exactly. So
well, and what I was saying, the point I was trying to make is that he put on that uniform to become authority man. He thinks he's a superhero fighting, the evil Constitution.
Respect my authority. Yeah, exactly. And, that's where, is that really your job? Or is your job to enforce the law? You know what I mean? Because what law were you enforcing there? You weren't enforcing a law. You're just giving somebody a hard time.
He's flexing his muscles.
Right.
I challenge him to go home and look at himself in the mirror and stare into his own eyes and actually try to convince himself what he thinks he did was justified.
You're a good man. You're a good man.
That's what he repeats himself. Hey, Popeye, we only have about 5 minutes left with you, so I want to make sure you plug your new network and your show, what times it's on, all that cool stuff. If you got anything coming up, go ahead and do all that stuff now, man.
Oh, cool. Thanks. The radio show's on over at Truth Frequency Radio. That's the new network I'm at. I was doing 5 days a week, but I went back to 4 right now. It's actually a bit easier. You get burned out less, especially when you're doing all this stuff by yourself. So
5 this week.
Yeah, 5 this week. But it gives me a little more freedom, because then I can come on and do interviews like this, and I'm relaxed and I can do better interviews. Whereas before, I was doing 5 days a week, plus then I was running a network behind the scenes, and it's like you pull your hair out. You don't even have time for a personal life. And as you guys know, this is, none of us get paid for this. So this is, even though this is like a second job, we all have lives outside of this as well. So it can be time consuming. But now I'm on Tuesdays to Fridays. So Tuesday through Friday from 10 p.m. to midnight Eastern Standard Time.
So right after this show.
Yeah, right after you guys are done and kick me off, I would be on, except today's Monday, so tonight I'm not on. But Tuesday through Friday, 10 p.m. to midnight Eastern Standard, or 7 to 9 Pacific. And then you can follow me on Facebook or Twitter, just FederalJack. And you'll see that it's got the little black emblem that says FederalJack.com. That's Twitter. And then over on Facebook, it's FedJack is the fan page. I'm trying to think. And my archives, obviously my website, FederalJack.com, I have about 3 years worth of archives up there. I just updated the archive page too, so it's more user friendly. When you go to it, it asks you if you want to look at the, well, you'll see it. You can just click on a link for 2011, 2012, or 2013, and it'll bring you to a page with the archives for that year. So it's a little easier, but they're all there. There's a download page where people can rip all the stuff for free. Trying to think of what else. So like I said, I'm horrible at plugging my own stuff.
Man, I mean that's pretty much, I think that's like everything, and we're showing your site on the screen just so people get an idea of it. And I know you also have stuff on YouTube. You have like years of like uploaded vids and stuff on the various YouTube channels,
like 8 or 9 channels.
Yeah, exactly. We didn't even get into all that, man.
Yeah.
No, I had a ton of YouTube channels. A bunch of them got shut down. There's still a few of them. Just look up FederalJack Tube, and there's FederalJack Tube with the number 4, and then FederalJack Tube with the number 6. Those are like the 3. There's a couple other smaller ones, but those have there's probably about 10 or 15,000 videos between the 3 of them. And then I have the radio show does have a YouTube archive. It's DTRH Radio Archives. DTRH Radio Archives, like down the rabbit hole, because that's the name of my radio show.
Right, and I mean, I'm sure you got tons of classic interviews of cool people you spoke with, and I mean, and on the YouTubes, I mean, some of the 9/11 videos, and just like, who knows? There's just gold nuggets on there. You'd have to go through and look through all of it.
Oh, dude, there's tons on there. I have a lot of the videos that are up there are available. If you go to FederalJack.com, we have a download section there. If you click on the download section, there's an image. Each image is like a button. A lot of the videos that have been removed from YouTube or stuff that like gets banned from YouTube immediately is up there, and there's a ton of stuff up there. And I don't charge anybody for this stuff. It's a labor of love. Go rip it. And by all means, if you download one of say you go to my radio network archive, or my radio show archive, right, and you want to see one of my shows, you like something I said, you want to download it and upload it to your channel because you have full-length upload capability, please do. Just make sure you include the entire description with all the links and stuff that I put in the video. But by all means, spread the information. That's what it's about.
Awesome. Somebody in the chat asked if they still had terabyte hard drives for sale. I'm not sure what he means by that.
I have a terabyte. Actually, I have 4 terabytes. It's the step after gigabyte.
I didn't know if he meant like one filled with information on it or something.
Well, what I do is I have like almost 3 terabytes of saved info that I've archived over the years. And if you go, if you go to FederalJack.com, I think there's a page that says Store. If you click on it, it'll bring you to the page. It'll tell you how to get in contact with me to order one if somebody wants one. But it's basically a service. What I do is I go out and I pick up, and I actually have to. I haven't even updated that page in forever. I have to see if you can still get that version of the hard drive that I was using, or if there's something better or whatever. But I usually, long story short, I would get whatever best quality, biggest hard drive that I could get at the time, and I would take all the knowledge and information that I have stored on my 3 drives and then load it onto one drive, and then I would charge people for it, but I wasn't really making any money on it. It was
more about the device, right?
Well, it would cover the cost of the device, and then it would cover like shipping and handling, and then sometimes we'd end up, if there was like 10 or 15 bucks left over, well, that goes into paying for gas for me driving all over God's creation. There was really never any big large profit margin off of it, and it's really just I say in the thing a setup fee,
right?
But there really is no one's really making any money off of it. I kind of just did it to get the ball rolling because I had all this stuff archived, and I've sold well over 200 of the things over the years. I've been doing it for like 3.5 years, and they're all over the world. And
it's like Truth Netflix, man. It's like preloaded Truth Netflix.
That's awesome.
It's updated every day. Well, it's updated every day too, because I constantly am ripping videos. So, like, if someone ordered one 6 months ago and someone ordered one today, well, the one that gets it today is going to have 6 months more worth of, and all my shows, I put all my radio shows on there for free. I put any radio shows from anybody else that I have, that I've gathered over the years, everything. They get so much stuff. I even give away, I have flyers I throw in there. If I have DVDs burned, I throw them in there. No one's ever ordered one and been upset. ever. And basically what they do is they order them to have screenings. And then they do screening. You know, people have told me, we did a screening with the hard drive. It's great. Because, you know, it's a little portable hard drive. That, a laptop, and a projector, and poof, you're now doing a truth
I think you can
screening.
even plug it into a new TV these days, a smart TV, and it'll play it right off the hard drive. I'm pretty sure these days.
They have DVD players now that you can plug USB plugs into. So
right. So
there you go.
I'm pretty sure that, Harry was wondering in the chat, so if anybody's interested in that, I'm sure you would be more than willing to help him out. And make sure you give out the sites and the times for your show one more time, man. Sure. It's you want to tune in. The radio network I'm on is called Truth Frequency Radio, truthfrequencyradio.com. Name of the show is Down the Rabbit Hole with Popeye. I'm on 10 p.m. to midnight Eastern Standard Time, Tuesday through Friday. And my website is FederalJack.com. All of my radio show archives are there, plus like 6.5 years worth of articles, stories, videos, just ebooks. We have a free ebook section. Just, you know, it's a plethora of knowledge. It might look small. It's like an iceberg. It kind of looks small on the top, but when you look underneath the water, it's massive. There you go. That's a good analogy, man. Well, hey, I really appreciate it, man. Obviously, we could go for hours, and I appreciate you coming on the show. Anytime you want to come back, you're more than welcome. I know you're always busy with your show, so I'm glad that you came on, man, and it's much appreciated. Well, guys, thank you for having me on, and I will have you both on as well, and we'll sit and shoot the breeze for however long you guys want to hang out for. Sounds anytime, good. Man. Yeah, just anytime. Let us know. And I guess really appreciate it, Popeye. Make sure you guys check out the sites. And all right, man, take it easy. Have a good one, guys. It's been an honor. You too. Take care. Peace. Have a good one, Popeye. So there goes Popeye. Awesome talk there, FederalJack.com. That was pretty cool at the end there. Learned about the hard drive. I remember hearing vaguely about that because I wasn't sure exactly if he meant like selling a hard drive like you said, Kristan, but I'm pretty sure I saw somewhere that he filled it with information. So that's really cool. Awesome. Yeah. Well, real quick, since we're coming to the end here, make sure you guys, if you guys have a cell phone, go to the App Store of Android or iTunes Store for iPhone and download the Rundown Live app for your phone. It's free. It's an application to your phone that allows you to download this episode and other episodes and past episodes and listen to them at a later time or whenever is convenient at your convenience. So make sure you go to the app stores, download those help us iTunes here. And Google support Play. Our sponsors. If you guys want to support us, you can donate in Bitcoin or go to therundownlive.com and click on the VPN banner or Block It Pocket banner, make a purchase. And if you're interested in sponsoring us or purchasing advertising space, you can send us an email. And we're also looking for writers or anyone else who wants to contribute. So if you have a gift and you think you can contribute, even if it's graphics and art, send it in. Music, anything. Yeah, we just want to help out, guys. We always need guests. So, be in contact with us. We'll be back live tomorrow. We're out of time. So I'm out. Any last words, Kristan? We're out of time, man. That's all. Check out therundownlive.com and support us. All right, we'll be back tomorrow. Peace, guys. We're out.
The Rundown, Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Check out therundownlive.com.
Make sure you stay tuned for Hardcore Harry coming up next on Truth Broadcast Network, our home network, and the encore of us will be on FPRNradio.com tonight, 1 a.m. Eastern. Peace.
Check out therundownlive.com.
Isn't Wi-Fi great? You can browse the web anywhere, coffee shops, airports, libraries. But using public Wi-Fi means that people can spy on you, and it's as easy as, yep, they can access your data at the touch of a button. Seriously, even your internet service provider can see every website you ever go to. Private internet access has got your back. How? Well, it's kind of nerdy, but to put it simply, spies and companies that track you don't like us one bit. We create an encrypted tunnel so that nobody can spy on you. We also provide IP cloaking, which frees you from geographic restrictions when you're traveling. Register today and disappear online, the way it was supposed to be.
Check out therundownlive.com.